Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're embarking on a deep dive into a source that's presented to us simply as the art of mind reading.
Hmm.
Our mission for you is to really explore the intriguing possibilities and maybe some unique insights that a title like that suggests, going beyond just the surface level to see what this art might actually be about.
Yeah, what's fascinating here, I think, is how that title immediately kind of reframes things.
Right.
It's clearly not talking about, telepathy or anything supernatural.
Yeah.
It seems more about cultivating a really profound understanding of other people. The art of mind reading, it positions it as something learnable, doesn't it?
Exactly, like a skill.
A mastery, maybe, of observation and interpretation. It shifts it away from, well, magic and more towards a method.
Yeah, that word art really jumps out. It implies a craft, something refined, something you develop maybe with practice and sensitivity over time.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if we're talking about an art and not like a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
what tools or, I don't know, frameworks does this source actually give us to help cultivate this skill?
Well, the source seems to break it down into three core components, things you can actually work on.
Okay.
First, it really digs into something called perceptual filtering.
Perceptual filtering.
Yeah. The argument is basically that we miss a lot of crucial nonverbal cues. Why? Because our brains are just constantly filtering information based on our own biases, our expectations.
What we think we're going to see.
Precisely. So the book introduces this technique called the silent scan.
Okay.
It's this deliberate practice. You pause just for a few seconds in a conversation, and you actively try to switch off your own internal chatter.
Quiet the inner voice.
Exactly. And then you systematically scan the other person for signals you might have missed. Unexpected things, maybe a tiny shift in their eyes, a hesitation in how they're standing, or some, unconscious hand movement.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's powerful. So it's really about training yourself to see what is actually there, not just what you assume is there.
That's the idea.
Okay, so you capture these raw observations with a silent scan. Then what? How does the art of mind reading suggest we interpret them, especially if, people might be trying to hide how they really feel?
Right. And that brings us neatly to the second core component, emotional resonance mapping.
Emotional resonance mapping.
So the source points out that, yeah, words can definitely deceive, but those really subtle things like microexpressions or physiological tells, much harder to fake consistently.
The little flickers you barely notice.
Exactly. And it introduces something called the triangulation method.
Triangulation.
Yeah, it just means looking for consistency or inconsistency across three different channels. So facial microexpressions, second, vocal tone and tempo, and third, overall body language.
Got it. 3 points.
So, for example, if someone's words sound calm, but maybe their voice pitch goes up slightly, and you catch just a flash of a frown, like super quick, the book suggests those inconsistencies. That's where the real emotional data tends to leak through.
The leaks.
Yeah, it's about tuning into those often involuntary little betrayals of emotion.
So it's not just spotting one weird thing, but looking for a pattern or a mismatch across those three areas.
Exactly, a confluence of signals, as you say.
That definitely adds some depth. Okay, so you've observed carefully, you've interpreted using this triangulation. What about the next step? Does the source talk about, predicting or anticipating what someone might do or need?
It does, and that's the third component, predictive pattern recognition. This is where the art kind of moves from just understanding the present moment
To looking ahead a bit.
right, to anticipating what might come next. The source outlines what it calls the CUES framework. CUES.
Cues. Okay, what does that stand for?
It stands for context, unspoken needs, and emotional state.
Context, unspoken needs, emotional state. CUES.
Yep. And the idea is, by consistently applying this framework over time with specific people you interact with regularly.
So it's about learning individual.
Exactly. You start to recognize their recurring patterns, how they tend to communicate, how they react in certain situations, what their underlying motivations might often be. You're building a kind of mental database for each person.
Like a pattern library for people.
That's a good way to put it. And the book apparently gives specific exercises to help you build that pattern library.
Interesting. So, okay, let's wrap this up. What does all this mean for you, the listener? I mean, our deep dive into just the title and these concepts from the art of mind reading today, it seems to highlight that mastering this isn't some kind of magic trick.
Not at all.
It's really about, disciplined observation, wouldn't you say? and nuanced interpretation, and then building that deeper understanding of human patterns over time.
It sounds like a very practical guide, actually, about truly connecting with others, maybe on a more profound level than we usually do.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, maybe it raises an important question for you. How might actively practicing these principles, this perceptual filtering, emotional resonance mapping, and predictive pattern recognition?
The CUES framework.
Right. How might using those in your own life actually transform things? Not just your understanding of other people, maybe, but even your ability to navigate tricky situations or build stronger relationships.
Definitely something to think about. A thought to chew on until our next deep dive.